destruction of the first period. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a general principle, إِنْ أَحْسَنْتُمْ أَحْسَنْتُمْ لِأَنفُسِكُمْ. If you do good, you're doing good for yourselves. Allah will give you khair in this world. وَإِنْ أَسَأْتُمْ فَلَهَا. And if you do not, if you do otherwise, then there are consequences for that. Okay. Everybody's following me? Yes. Then Allah says, فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعْدُ الْآخِرَةِ. When the second of the first takes place, meaning, how many times fasad has to take place in the world? Twice, right? Allah, what is done? And there's a return to glory, return to power. Then Allah says, when the second time it happens, when you will be powerful again, you will not follow what Allah wants you to do. You will start fasad again. What will we do? Repeat. What was the first ayah? We will send upon you a powerful nation. That same ayah is mahdoob over here, muqaddar. We will send upon you a new nation. What will they do? لِيَسُوءُ وُجُوهَكُمْ. They will make your faces become distressed in war. Here we have a new angle in this verse. This verse says something different. وَلِيَدْخُلُوا الْمَسْجِدِ. And this new nation who will take over after your fasad number 2, they will enter the masjid on this occasion. كَمَا دَخَلُوهُ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. Like how they had entered it once upon a time, the first time. وَلِيُتَبِّرُوا مَا عَلَوْا تَكْبِيرًا. And then they will also destroy whatever they had shown above in total destruction. Now in this ayah there's a mention of a masjid. And Surah Al-Isra is a Makkiyah surah. The starting of the surah, the first ayah is known for Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj. Subhanallah. أسرى بعبده ليلا إلى المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى. The first ayah they said it. Blessed is Allah, exalted is He who took His servant by night from Masjid al-Haram, Ka'batullah, to the furthest masjid, Masjid al-Aqsa. Now, throughout centuries, ulama, mufassirun have read these ayat as a general ayat, talks of Isra, Mi'raj, talks of Bani Israel in the future. Modern day scholars and what we see in the world gives us a reflection, a new angle to this ayat. And scholars have agreed to the fact that Surah Al-Isra is actually from the major signs of Qiyamah, which was not discussed in history. So now in this verse which I just discussed, Allah SWT said that this nation which will come and overpower you, they would have entered the masjid, they will enter the masjid Al-Aqsa, like how they entered it once upon a time. So we have to decipher this nation. Who entered it once upon a time? It could be many people. Is it the Babylonians? Is it the Romans? Is it the Greeks? Or is it the Muslims? وَلْيُتَبِّرُوا مَا عَلَوْا تَكْبِيرًا. The discussion ends, عَسَىٰ رَبُّكُمْ يَرْحَمَكُمْ. It is expected that your Lord has mercy on you. وَإِنْ عُدْتُمْ عُدْنَا. But if you turn towards fasad, we will always keep turning towards you with punishment. Okay. Now we will conclude over there for the ayat, and now we have to analyze. Inshallah, we'll come back to this at the conclusion of the bayan. A few things of historical significance we have to understand. Bani Israel, the word Israel, does anybody know what it means? Israel, Isra means Abd, and Il means Allah. Abdullah. Israel means Abdullah. Who is this Abdullah? Yaqub alayhi salam. Yaqub alayhi salam, Jacob, Allah gave him a title later on. After this story of the Torah is that he wrestled an angel who came before him, and then Allah said to him, you are henceforth Israel. Yani, you have a title of Allah's servant. Just remember this. Allah has referred this in the first page, few ayat. Allah says, كُلُّ طَعَامِ كَانَ حِلًّا لِبَنِي إِسْرَائِيلِ إِلَّا مَا حَرَّمَ إِسْرَائِيلِ. All of the ta'am and food of the dietary laws of Bani Israel was halal, except what Israel made haram upon himself. Yani, what Yaqub made haram on himself. Okay. Yaqub alayhi salam had 2 wives, there were 2 sisters. From the younger wife, he had 2 sons, Yusuf alayhi salam and Binyamin, yani Benjamin. He had another wife, his eldest wife, from which he had 6 sons. And he had 2 concubines from which he had 2 other sons each. So how many total sons? 12. 6, 2, 2, 2. But the silsila, the lineage of Nubuwwah, Allah had kept the promise of Ibrahim alayhi salam given to Ishaq and to Ismail alayhi salam. From Ismail alayhi salam came the Arab, Banu Ismail. From Ishaq came Yaqub and Banu Israel. So these 12 sons, Nubuwwah was only promised for one of them. They all wanted it. That's why the older ones got jealous because of the love he had for Yusuf alayhi salam. So they tried to get rid of him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought him from the well to the throne, and they made them all bow down in front of him. That's the story we all know. My point of reflection over here is, okay, quick years, let's give you a few years, right? BC. For historical discussion, we have to know this much. The way the Hebrews or the world historians have counted the years. So they count Adam alayhi salam to be 555. So 5,000. 5,000 BC. So then add 2,000 to that. 2023. So 7,000. Nuh alayhi salam is regarded to be 3,500 BC. Then we come to Ibrahim, which is 2,100. 2,100. Then Ismail and Ishaq, the 2 sons, also 2,100 to 2,000 to 1,900, because they lived for centuries. They lived for 150 years on average. So Ibrahim alayhi salam, our discussion, which years? 21 to 2000. Ishaq, Ismail, 2000 and we're going backwards, right? Because we're counting to 0 to Isa, Jesus alayhi salam's birth, right? So 2000, 2100, 2000, and then Yaqub alayhi salam is 1900s, and his son Yusuf, who we want to talk about, is 19, and then he ends up passing away in 1800s. 1800s. Okay? Where does he settle down? Because they have pushed him into slavery, he ends up in Egypt. Yes? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants him the kingdom and all of that. He tells his family, go tell the family to come and settle down in Egypt. They all come, the 12 brothers. The 12 brothers come, they all settle down. Yusuf alayhi salam, during his royal time, there's one more point over here. This kingdom, the kings who were ruling Egypt, in history, who usually rules Egypt? Generally, pharaohs, right? But during Yusuf alayhi salam's time, it was not the pharaohs for a period of a century plus minus. This is the Hyksos nation. The Hyksos were nomadic Arabian Semite people who had taken over Egypt. So in the Surah Yusuf, when you read, you'll notice Allah doesn't call the Malik Fir'aun. In the story of Musa, Allah always talks of Fir'aun. But in Surah Yusuf, Allah says, وَقَالَ Malik, the king. He doesn't call him Fir'aun because he was not of the Fir'aun. They were Hyksos people, right? And they were Arabians. So you can see in the words they say in the Quran, قُلْنَا حَاشَ لِلَّهِ. They use Allah as a reference. The Fir'aun and them, he's a... So for those few, maybe a century or so, the family of Yusuf